Hello, in this section, section 5 of the MicroStrategy Training for Virginia Tech, we are going to cover navigation, just the beginning parts of navigation in interactive mode of a document. So far we've only looked at the express mode, that is the default delivered version of the document. In this section we're going to cover the difference between dataset objects and grid objects. We're going to cover drilling, advanced sorting, and attribute forms. So we're going to use the same report that we have been using, the spot 001, and I've just got it executed here. And we'll first start with the difference, well, we'll go into interactive mode first, which is the icon on the toolbar next to the express mode, and you can tell what it is by tabbing over it, mousing over it. As soon as you go into interactive mode, you will probably see the dataset objects, and if you don't, you can always go to Tools and press the down arrow there, and you'll see dataset objects is checked. If it's not checked, it disappears. And if you want it to appear, you can check it. Now, there are other options on Tools, and we'll be covering these other options in later sections of the training. But right now, we just need to look at dataset objects. A dataset is a report that's been written, and you may or may not be able to see the dataset itself. They would start with a 5000 instead of a 0001. This is 5001. And that data set can contain more information than what is on what is called your grid. And this is your grid here. So the grid is what's displaying on the document. And the data set is all of the things available to display on the document. And there can be many more items over here than what you see on the document. You can see there's many different metrics here that I don't have on the document. I took them off just so you, to secure the numbers, so we have the non-secure numbers here. So let's say on this particular report I'd like to see course level. Now of course I could just click on this other tab where it's been created for you, but if you didn't have that tab, you could choose course level, right click, no, I'm sorry, and drag it over to where you want it. Now, you can put it on the columns, on the rows, I'm sorry, by getting a horizontal line, or on the columns by getting a vertical line, on the columns by getting a horizontal line. So if we put it on the columns, you'll see that these numbers are spread out now by the department section, by the course level. If we go back and pick course level out of here, and remove that from the grid, we're back to the original. And if we put it on the rows, again by dragging it until it gets to a horizontal line, now it's broken out by course level this way. So it all depends on how you want to see your report, whether you would drag it to the horizontal line or the vertical line. When you right click on that item, you can remove it from the grid, which means it just takes it off and puts it back in the data set. So you never lose the value, it's just over here ready to be put back on. At the reporter level, you can only choose things that are already on the data set to add to the document. So that's the difference between a data set object and a grid object. And you'll see that terminology repeatedly as we go through this training. The next topic we want to cover is drilling. And if you were on department, you can also choose to drill, and based on where hierarchies have been defined, you can drill to other parts of the database. So in this particular case, I can drill down to course level here, and which is the same thing as dragging course level over, but there could be other options for drilling. This is a simple report. But in here, I'm able to drill down to the course level, and if I choose that, I get the same thing as if I would have dragged this over and inserted it into the report. So again, I can remove that from the grid, and it's back to normal. Okay, so that's drilling. You can do a little bit more with sorting in this environment. So if you right-click, you can still sort ascending and descending, and we'll cover this custom later, but ascending and descending. Or you can choose a sort grid, which allows you to say, well, first I want to sort by college. Okay. And then within that, I want to sort by department. And I can choose to sort by the code or the description. So if I'm more comfortable with codes, I can sort by the code. And you can define other values. If there were attributes across the top in the columns, then you would be able to sort by the columns also. Very similar to an Excel application. So you can choose ascending, descending, and when you apply that, you'll get, it won't show up a lot, but it will show the college and then the departments sorted within the college by description. So that's how it would turn out. The last feature that I want to cover in this training is attribute forms. So if I'm at the department level, I can go down to this attribute forms, and you'll see that there are several choices here. I can display the department description, the department code, and the department key, which really doesn't really apply to anything. But let's say I wanted to see the code in the description on my report and not just the description. I would just check this. And now you see the department code is displayed with the description. Same thing for college. If I went to college and said attribute forms and selected college code, you could see the college codes for all the descriptions. Generally, the codes don't really mean a whole lot, but sometimes the codes are meaningful, and you may want to display the code in the description. What shows up on the report is just the default setup, and then you can customize it from there. That concludes the first elementary navigation topics for interactive forms. There's lots more to be covered, and they'll be covered in the next two sections. So that's the end of this session.